And I am not eating because I had a lot to eat. Oh yeah, Keith Robinson is calling. You started actually, so just.
I'm not gonna pick him.
He's always calling during the show. Actually, last week he called with Ian Edwards
Oh
to
my
interrupt
goodness.
the show, and Khalees hung up on him, which
Yeah, I'm
was
not picking
great.
up. I'm not picking up.
Yeah. So dentists are hard to find. Actually, good ones.
Yeah, I like this dentist. I saw him once. I saw him once last year, and then I went back today. I got a checkup, and I got the deep cleaning today, and he's also really easy on the eye.
Really?
Yeah.
Now is he white, black,
White.
what? And how did you hear about him?
I found him through my insurance. I look for dentists if they're like within walking distance. I need to be able to just walk to them.
I tried that, and that did not work out for me.
I live in Times Square
I
though.
live in Harlem.
Yeah.
And I went to 110th Street off of Central Park. Oh my God. It was like security.
Really?
It was security set up for the door. Like you can't get in unless.
At the dentist?
Yes, that was already the bad
Oh no,
sign.
that's already a bad first impression.
Yeah, and then when I went in, and they were your people, they were Dominican, but when I went in, they said.
They were your people. They were Dominican.
Well, they were Dominican. But when I went in, they said the one thing I couldn't.
I'm glad I represent all Dominicans.
Yeah. In this case, you
In
will.
this, I am. I'm the token
They
Dominican in
said
the room.
sign here, and you know what? Like no.
No.
And then also, I was there. My appointment was like at 1, and I was still there at 1:30.
Oh
And
yeah.
then the woman came out. She's like, "It'll be 10 minutes." And
Those are my people.
I said, "No, it won't. Bye." And not to mention, also there was someone in there who was speaking on their speakerphone, talking about selling plates at a party, and cursing out. I was like, I got it. I can't do this. And then they were also fixing a machine in the back.
Oh no.
That was partially,
Ugh.
and they looked like they didn't know how to put that machine together.
Yikes.
So I was like, I was trying to give them I said,
No.
wow.
I'm glad you didn't stay there. I think I learned a lesson today because I called them and asked them if I could come in earlier because I was trying to make it here on time. My appointment was 11:45, and when I called, they were like, "No, there aren't any available appointments. You have to keep your appointment." But I showed up at 11. They saw me 11:15. If you just show up, they'll still to see you. Yeah. So I called for nothing. So she was like, "No," and I was like, "I'm gonna go anyway." And I was like, "Okay, if I have to just sit here for 45 minutes, I will." But no, they saw me right away.
And when you get your teeth clean, is it painful?
The deep cleaning, they numb your gums first, and then they go in so it doesn't hurt as much.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah, see, the woman at this other place that I went to, which is why I went to this new place, was the other place charged me for, I had a tooth that was supposed to fall out that I've had for years. I have a baby tooth that never, Pat, are you bored with this?
No, I just do sleep.
Oh, God, I was like, I think I'm bored, Pat.
Please do not.
Why didn't you sleep well? What were you doing?
I have up and down bouts with insomnia.
Oh, I thought you were getting it.
No, I haven't got it in a while.
No. Do you have a dentist?
I did, and that's when I had a dental plan, and like you, try to get somebody close in Harlem, and he did the basics fine. So.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, I haven't had anything major other than cleanings with this guy, so I
Yeah.
haven't had. Thank God, that means that I don't have any.
Yeah, see, when you
issues.
have something serious, like I had to have that baby tooth pulled, I bit into something. My one doctor that was very good years ago told me, keep the tooth. If you don't have to, because it's expensive to get a replacement tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never can tell if it's the okie doke or not, because I remember I was probably in my late 20s and they were like, oh, if you don't get X, Y, and Z done, your teeth's going to fall out, or this tooth is going to fall out by the time you're 35 or 40. 35 and 40 came and that tooth was just fine.
Yeah.
So I think about that, like, were you just trying to get money? Because the procedure, I can't remember what it was, but I remember it was really expensive. It wasn't covered by my insurance, so I knew I wasn't going to get it. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I won't have that tooth. But it's been fine.
Yeah, this would be $2,000, $2,000.
Right.
And they took a deposit of like $300 for the replacement tooth, and my tooth was fine like the next week, and they took that from me. and I was like, I don't need this surgery anymore, really. So
I once had I had a problem, like I had an abscess, and I was going to the dentist, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna have to extract the tooth, we can't save the tooth, and everybody was charging, like, quoting me all this money. First of all, dentistry, they can charge whatever they want, like, one dentist here could charge you $1, and the one across the street could charge you 10 million. There's no regulation for what they charge.
It's really weird.
So, I had dental insurance, so what I did was, I actually opted out for 1 year and went to NYU dental school, and they saved the tooth for less money. I paid out of, like, the money I was paying out of pocket was gonna be less than the co-pay that these people were telling me, these actual dentists. So I did that for a year, just went to NYU dental and got all my major work done through them and paid out of pocket, and it was cheaper than having dental insurance.
it's crazy. I mean, the insurance, it's like, especially after setting up the GoFundMe for Kyle Groons, like, just seeing, like,
Yeah, that was great. You did that.
well, it was really an easy thing to do. You just set it up. But it's sad to see how many people would be in this situation who don't have
Yeah.
this
You know,
support.
I had insurance for the past year, finally, after not having insurance for a long time just because it wasn't affordable. And I was paying, because of the tax break, it made my insurance like $153 a month. Now that for the exact same insurance, my tax break is different. So now the exact same insurance is gonna be $462 a month for the exact same insurance, and I barely want to go to the doctor as it is, because I'll go to the doctor and then I get all these bills, 100 for this, 200 for that, and I'm like, what am I paying for monthly if when I go to the doctor I get all these additional bills that I don't understand? Lab work, what? For regular blood
and they'll
work,
mess up your credit score
it's
if you don't pay that bill.
unbelievable.
I had a bill that I just, when you get medical bills, sometimes you're like, you know what,
I'll deal with it later,
I'm
yeah.
gonna get to you. But different places will choose to report it on your credit score, which I
It's
found
insane.
out, like the place that I'm going to after here, I like paid her bill like a year later, never reported me, never. The place that she sent me to get my mammogram and all that, they reported me after like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I found out, and then I fought it, and they took it off my credit report. Because I was like, so like people like set up, they're like, oh, we're gonna get you.
It's disgusting.
Well, healthcare, I mean, it's a really big issue. It's been a big issue for the last 4 presidential cycles. So we're in it now.
And I just don't
2020.
understand why it's still so controversial, why universal health care scares people so much. Like, I don't understand the people who oppose it, what their opposition is. Like, we have the money. Don't say that we don't, because we do.
Same people that
We have
oppose
the
Social
money.
Security and Medicare and all those things, and there's a campaign against it, and
Yeah.
they'll get on the bandwagon of the campaign against it until they get it and realize that it's not going to cost you overwhelming what you thought it was going to cost you, and in effect, it's going to help you have a safety net. So people are always. A lot of people always continue to go against their bread and butter issues that will help their lives.
Since we're on that bread and butter issue, so you guys saw the Mueller report is out. He's not.
I hate that we spend so much money for nothing, but I do think that where they're gonna get him is here in New York. The lower court is gonna get him. Follow the money, just like Capone. Follow the money. Collusion, I was over it. I think that follow the money. He did a lot of messed up things here in New York City that they're being investigated, and that's where he's gonna
They're
get.
waiting for him to get out. The sitting
Yeah, he's-
president,
yeah,
we
can't
cannot
be
get.
indicted.
This is what we're seeing.
But that's why we can't let him get re-elected, so he can be taken out
Well,
of
this is
cuffs.
my thing about it. I feel like they have to release the whole entire report, because they're doing the same thing they did with the Kavanaugh hearing. They set a narrow scope for the investigation in the first place, and then secondly, when that report comes out, they're only going to give you the conclusion of it, but not what it's based on. So it could be other things in that report, because he can't be indicted because of DOJ rules or regulations. There could be other things that he didn't follow up on, because that needs to be followed up on, because he can't be indicted at this point.
Right.
So we need to see the whole entire the report in its
But
entirety.
they voted unanimously to release it in
That's in the House, but
Oh.
it's still up to the
general, whatever.
No, it's the
Attorney General.
Attorney General
Yeah.
to release the report. I absolutely believe that it's going to, Congress is going to subpoena the report. They're going to rebuff that, and then they're going to have to go to the Supreme Court.
It just seems like the more they draw this out as Democrats, the more people look at Democrats like, why don't you just let it go?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
His fan base and some that may be sort of like teeter-tottering are looking at it in, like, you know, people who are like not sure are looking at it in the way that when they came after Clinton, I feel like we were like, let it go, he's the president, let it go.
Yeah, but it's
But Clinton
also
was totally
it was
different.
more transparency on the Clinton side than it was on this side, because Clinton actually he had the interview with the special counsel. He testified. Trump did not. So it's a lot of covering up on that end, and I understand people have fatigue about this whole report. And whatnot, but for the people that are actually watching it from the day-to-day standpoint, then expose it. If the Republicans have nothing to lose to expose it, if they actually feel that he is innocent of all counts, so he has no reason. Okay, then expose it.
Well, they
Expose
seem to want to. You mean reading? You mean letting it out?
to give it to Congress, and
Yeah.
of course they redacting things that are classified. But yeah, give the whole entire report to Congress.
Are you gonna read it?
I feel like it's a waste of time.
A lot
I feel
of
like
words.
whatever is happening.
That's so funny.
This has a lot of words.
I feel like whatever is happening, it's so much back and forth, and you used a great word, fatigue.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it is not going to make a difference. What's going to happen is going to happen, and it seems to be, for whatever reason, that's way above my head and a lot of people's heads of understanding and the cover-up, and we don't know what's going on. I don't know the greater picture in this and why, but it seems like it's going to fall into his favor anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, we can't let him get reelected. I don't think he was elected the first time around. So I feel like
He's in
whatever magical thing happened that got him in office, whether it was the Russians, which they're saying it's not now, or whatever happened, it can happen again. So however he got himself in office the first time, and I'm not necessarily thinking it was voting, because I still believe something happened.
No, they didn't say that the Russians didn't help him. What they're saying is he didn't collude with the Russians.
Right. So
Oh,
the
I
Russians
see,
could
I
have still
see, I
been
see.
involved.
Yeah, Russians
They're
could
not
definitely.
denying that.
You see what I mean? How that's such a waste of time? Like, I feel like we already know that. So you have this great team of investigators and all this money going into all of this investigating of something that we already know. We already know 2 + 2 = 4, right? So why are we doing this? I still feel like it's going to fall in his favor. I believe he'll be reelected again, and we're going to be in this hamster wheel for a long time.
How many? Do you
I believe he's gonna
he'll
be
be
reelected, yes.
What do you think?
I don't want him to be. So, now, you have to be clear when you say
Yeah, I
that,
do
because
not
some people
want him
think
to be
that
reelected.
means you're in favor of him being reelected. I am not.
No,
but I
it's
feel
just
like
being realistic.
he will be.
I don't think so, because that's also, I think he creates this fatigue. Honestly,
But his base is his base. And
his
it's
base
gone.
his base has been dwindling since he's been
His approval rating is up.
With his base, yeah.
his
So like
base has been
89.
dwindling since he's been in office. So you got a smaller amount of fervent fans of
Has he
his.
been dwindling? You know, I've never
His
seen
his
that
base
story.
has.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his base has been dwindling.
Where'd you see
since-
that?
I feel like it
They've
might
been
be
saying
getting
that since
stronger, really.
No, not that the excitement has gotten any more or any less. His base has gotten smaller. So if there were 45% of the people that voted for him, there's 40% of the people voting for him now, but they're still just as crazy or fanatical about him as they were before.
Well, there are some people
So his
who are having
enthusiasm
fiery remorse.
is the same. The enthusiasm, but people have fallen off from the Republican Party because
Right.
of all this other things that he brings to
And I
political
feel like he
system.
just opened up the floodgates for people like him to go, oh, I'm going to run for president and do the
Yes,
same
I agree with you.
crap. So even if he doesn't get reelected, I think the future of the presidency it's changed forever, and now the floodgates is just
Well,
open
I think
for
the
all
presidency has
kinds
been
of
sullied.
ratchetness.
Yeah. It's been
I also
sullied.
feel like with everything going on, it just seems like the overall theme is Black people go down, white people don't get away with shit.
Okay.
You know, you look at all these cops getting away with murdering young black men, boys. You look at even the Jussie Smollett thing, right? It was this whole thing about Jussie Smollett, but then you see on the other side of it, you see Trump getting away with this. I still don't see where's the Hollywood guy. I'm forgetting his name right now. Weinstein. What's going on?
Exactly.
Oh,
Every
that
time
he's in jail.
he is.
I thought
See,
he was
this
in
is the
jail.
thing. I always ask the same question because we know everything that's happening with R. Kelly step by step. We know everything Cosby step by step. We know everything. They're digging Michael Jackson up from the grave step by step. But if you go, okay, well, what? Somebody give me an update on Harvey Weinstein.
There was because somebody it was one of our friends. I forgot. I can't think of her name right now. But one of our friends said, you know, you're all saying all this, but there is a documentary about Weinstein. Are you gonna go see it? Probably not. There has been exposure.
There is a documentary?
Yes, there is.
But they're not publicizing it. You hear about R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, it's constant. It's constant.
No, you didn't constantly hear. I mean, when it was in effect, when the trial was actually going on, you did hear about Michael Jackson day in, day out. But also the same thing when Harvey was being accused day in and day out. What happened, just like when it happened with R. Kelly, when he peed on the little girl, that it took 6 years for them to actually go to trial on that. And so what's happening with Weinstein is the same thing. Money affords you that
Grace period.
Cushion.
that cushion. And also it ain't about black and white. I think we've been fooled to think that, and certainly poor white people have been fooled to think that it's about black and white, but it's really about rich. It's about it's about rich people getting off. If OJ got off because he was a rich black man, not because he was a black man. I mean, he got off because he was rich.
I don't agree.
I can
with
see both
that.
sides of that story, but I will say at the time when R. Kelly peed on a little girl and it took 6 years to do that, we didn't have social media. So it wasn't, it was a different time period. I'm talking about right now when all of this is constantly being pushed out there. And I don't see the same energy on Harvey Weinstein at all.
Or Woody Allen.
Woody
Well,
Allen.
Woody Allen just hasn't even been.
They mentioned Elvis
persecuted.
in the R. Kelly documentary. I don't see anyone digging him up from the grave about his stuff.
Michael Jackson wasn't either. And neither was, what's his name, who flew over to the other country. Polanski.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and I'm not
escaped.
saying
No, there's a warrant for him. He escaped.
Oh, okay. So he came over here.
He's exiled.
Where is he?
In France or wherever we don't have extradition, wherever we can't say send him back.
Where he at over in France?
He is. He's somewhere where we can't say send him back. That's basically
and
it.
I
Because
do
he would go to
agree
jail.
that it's not necessarily a black-white thing when it comes to rape, child molestation,
Sure.
any type of criminal activity. You go to jail.
I'm saying it's not just black and white. There is intersexuality in these things, but a large part of it is black and white. That some of the things are black and white, but a lot of it comes.
When it comes to justice,
like
when they talk about due process, which Trump always loves to say, it's like it always seems like they get due process.
Yeah,
right. I think it's a natural thing, and I wish I had it in front of me, but I read this article about how it's just natural to give someone who looks like you, that's from where you're from, the benefit of the doubt before another person.
Happens in metaphor.
Happens all the time. We all do it. Like if I'm walking down the street in the middle of the night and I see a group of young white kids that look like they might be drunk, and then I see a group of young black kids that might be drunk, I'm going on the side of the street with the black kids. There's a lot of people that might stay on the side with the white kids, but I'm going on the side with the people that look like me.
You should probably walk in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm going down the middle of that road.
I don't know if that was a you half white joke or just be safe in the middle joke, but I just don't want to get hit by a car. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You do tend to give people who look like you the benefit of the doubt quicker than someone else. So in terms of the justice system, who is making this decision?
That's who we're rooting for too. I mean, you can see it in comedy. A lot of times when I not as much anymore, but a lot of times I would see audiences root for people who look like them. You know, guys are immediately giving a pass to a guy who's on stage, who looks like him, who probably comes from his background, is going to come from the experiences. You know, if it's a black audience, you know, a lot of times we'll root for, you know.
I don't know about that because the Apollo is famous
If it's a
for
mixed
booing
audience, I
us
should say.
and giving
can I
a
finish?
white person a pass.
You're right.
Okay, go
You're
ahead,
right.
Sorry.
Absolutely, because that's like the unicorn walking through, right?
Mhm.
But I'm saying that actually, if it's a mixed audience, you know,
Okay.
I see a lot of times like, oh, okay, there's someone who's going to talk from my perspective. Even if there's now, you know, what used to happen is, sadly enough, is as a woman going on stage, I would want women to support me, but now that's changed. There's a lot more of rooting, and so on stage you feel a lot more confidence when you're up there. You feel like people are like, there's a recognition in the audience of that smile of, yes, I'm there for you. That feels good when you're on stage.
That was just me, Marina. That was just me.
You've never been in the audience smiling back. There was one time when you were actually in the audience, it made me nervous in Montreal. I was like, oh shit, Vaughn's right there.
Oh wow!
Just
I don't
staring
even
at me.
remember that.
I was like,
I was staring at you. Oh
Well,
my
you were
god,
watching
that's so
the
in your
show,
imagination.
and I was the show, so you had to stare at.
I
stare
don't
at
even
me.
remember that.
But I was like, oh,
I was cheering you on, Marina.
oh, thanks, Vaughn.
And booing.
You had an experience recently, didn't you? I saw something you posted on Instagram about a woman in the audience that was going at you.
Oh yeah. But I would say this, that I feel like the audience has changed in terms of representation. I think there's more women in comedy now, or more women that are visible in comedy now. So the overall feeling that I feel in audiences that are women are like excited to see women, and I think that has everything to do with the idea has changed that when you see a woman on stage, a woman can be funny, and we didn't have that been given that benefit of the doubt prior to, say, in the last 10 or 15 years. The woman that was in my audience, she was just
What happened?
she was just interrupting the show the entire time. I had to go check her almost like 4 or 5 times, and you try to do it in a funny way so it doesn't lose the momentum of the show and whatever. And then she said something that she said something I said about stay right there. I don't want you to leave. I want you to interrupt all the other comics. I don't want to be the only one that you've interrupted their show. So fuck them comics. Come on, stay right there.
That's
So
what
that
I was wondering. Did
that was
she
the
do it
joke.
To anyone else?
Huh?
Did she do it to anyone else?
I don't know. I don't know. I was just saying that. I don't even know if I was headliner or not. So she said nobody's laughing, and then that just, I don't know. Like after all of that, I was like, that was my bottom. So I just went in and I just told her she was a talentless something, and then that she was a lot of things I can't think of about right now. But so after I was, after I got off, before I got off stage, I said, and follow me, because just because we don't like each other don't mean you can't support me on social media.
That's hysterical.
So I got off stage, and then when I was talking to some of the other comics out of the showroom, she just came up to me like her boyfriend was stopping her from coming near. She's like, "Is that her? Is that her?"
Oh no!
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I was like, and then me and his comic turned around and we were looking at each other. I was like, "Oh, she's gonna fight me."
Oh my
I was
goodness.
Like you?
Yes, I was so delighted by it.
What was she upset
goodness.
about?
That's what I
She-
was waiting to ask. Like, what was?
She
what
was upset that I went
disrupting?
in on her at the very end, but she kept interrupting the show the whole time. So she thought it was okay just to say anything she wanted to whenever she.
Conversational.
Right,
No,
that's- 'cause I find there's two different
during the
types
show,
of
and I was like,
actors.
"Be quiet." I said, "Be quiet," and whatever, and I would say something funny
Oh, I
after
see.
that. Be quiet. This is not about you. Say
Was
something
she
else.
trying to be funny, or when she was heckling, or just being disruptive, or was she just trying to have a personal conversation? And
She was
and having an
commenting
opinion
out
about
loud.
yourself?
Yeah, having an opinion and commenting out loud. Like, yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah, that's
that.
what I was
works.
when I was wondering when you posted it. I was like, did she have an opinion about something that you were saying that she didn't?
The
agree
whole time. So she was, it's
And
like
what
when
were
nobody.
those, like, was it?
I don't know.
political
Remember what
stuff,
it was
or-
just during the course of the comedy. So I don't know what it was, and then I was just because she acted drunk, and then she started like, no, my cousin he died. And I said from I don't know. So she was saying all this kind of shit. So then when her boyfriend blocked her from whatever, and then they were paying their check. Then she goes to the manager, and the manager's something, and then she tries to get at me through the manager, so the manager is holding her hands up like, yeah.
What? God.
So this is the kicker, though. This is the kicker. So she interrupted my show all this whole time. Interrupted my show the entire time. She tried to fight me twice. She starts crying.
She's just drunk, right? She's just a drunk.
She said she wasn't drunk. I don't know if she was drunk or not. I don't really know. But she starts fucking crying. And her boyfriend is holding her. It's like, oh, okay, baby. It's like, I was like, this white bullshit, these white ass tears. Fuck you. Fuck him. Fuck all y'all to come to a comedy show and think that you are somehow should be a part of the show. Because what? You worked on it? You worked on a set? Fuck you.
I like to always
that's exactly what I got mad about. Is like the entitlement of it. Like, for one, that you think you on par with me?
Yeah.
For what reason? Why would you think that?
Yeah.
I'm a fucking professional up here with the mic, and you think you're on par with me because what? Because you're white? Because you're a woman? What makes you think that you can keep interrupting my show?
I feel like someone needs to go down for the way they're feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
That's the age we're living in.
I like to remind
we need
these
to
people
burn that person because they don't do what I want.
That the ticket they paid for, everyone around them also paid, and they're ruining their money and their show.
And I said that, and the audience clapped.
Yeah, because she was annoying them too.
Of course. Was on the stage
but you can't get that from that. I mean, she couldn't even get that the audience is telling you to be quiet, let the show continue, and they don't want to hear from you, so you still interrupt the show.
Yeah.
That's the high mark of arrogance.
I was at the Underground the other day. I forget who was on stage. It's escaping me, but he said something, and a woman off to the side by where the band is went something. He goes, "Excuse me," and she goes, "Well, that sounds mean." He didn't even have to say a word after that. The entire crowd went, boo! I've never seen that before. So
the audience just
immediately booed her.
And agreed.
And agreed that she
thrilling.
Yeah.
It was thrilling.
That's awesome. I gotta show me your tits on Saturday.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And
you wouldn't even think why.
Yeah. Well, I had just talked about being a survivor, but then I was talking about something else. I had switched to something else, and this is like, it was everybody in the there was this table of guys, and I'm just gonna describe them. They kept their coats on, had a bottle of Hennessy, and were smoking hookah the whole time. And even the other comics were like, one of them was like, the one who did that to me said, another comic tried to say something to him. He's like, I don't laugh. Leave me alone. Don't mess with me because I don't laugh. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I have a joke about like coming out of prison. I said, I know that table can relate, right? I made a joke about it. People laugh, and then it's like the guy's like, yeah, I've been in prison a long time. Hurry up and show me your tits.
Oh no.
And I was like,
that sounds crazy.
yeah. And then I handled it well, but I felt that as first of all, the only female comic on the bill, that it should have been addressed by the manager. Like somebody, the booker should have said something. Like it was just inappropriate. Like he actually patted me on the back, like, Jen, you handled that guy really well. I was like, yeah, because I'm a professional and I'm up here, but he should have been addressed by someone. Like that's just, how is that still okay to do that?
Yeah, it happened to me before when I was on stage and I was talking about something and the guy said, I don't want to hear that, just talk about your bra size. And this was different. His girlfriend, and no one addressed it, and I dealt with it the whole time. And I was really angry, but I handled it. And then the girl who was with him, she was so upset, she left him. And she came up to me afterwards. She said, I am so upset that he said that to you. I cannot believe I'm even with him. I'm leaving. I'm apologizing to you. I was like, oh, there's justice in the world.
Yeah.
he ain't getting laid tonight. So I do want to bring up some positive stories because I think I said this last week. Like, there's so many negative stories in the news right now. Sometimes it just makes me feel good to think of something good, a good story. So this is one. 2 black women are killing it in an ice sport you've probably never thought about watching. You know, the curling thing.
Yeah, I read it.
So Aria Moore and Porsche Stevenson, they threw themselves into the learning process, and what started something new to try for fun has become a consuming passion. Behold, 2 more brilliant examples of black girls can do anything, and it's they're like, they have full-time jobs, they're in the tech industry, they're doing really well at this. They're talking about how it's not something that we do, and they talk about how, what I loved is how much negativity they got in an industry that doesn't have them black women in it. Like, usually, I guess it's customary to shake someone's hand and smile, and they were saying that they would get people who would just not smile, not shake their hands.
That's just unsportsmanship, like.
Yeah, and they were like, you know what? We're gonna keep doing this. So, kudos to you. Have you
See
seen
what
this
happens
sport?
with good news? It's like, all right, so what else?
Yeah.
Have you seen that sport? Do you
I just
watch
think
it?
it's
I've
so
never
boring.
heard of
I've
it,
seen
but I don't
it.
know
I
what
just
it
think
is.
it's so boring that why would you want to? Like, I'm really proud that these women are doing it and it's become their passion. But I couldn't care less about curling, so even the story is like, all right, well, good for
Well,
them.
there's
Keep
some
moving.
sports that are probably more fun to play and
Probably,
do
you're right.
than watch.
Then watch. You're right.
And it seems like one of those type of sports.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if I was actually doing it, but
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't have that kind of energy.
yeah.
They have
Show me
full-time
underwater
tech
basket.
jobs
Yeah.
and sports. I'm
Show-
exhausted.
Show me
thinking about
underwater
all of that.
basket weaving, and maybe I'll be impressed.
I don't know. I'm on. If I understand it, I probably have appreciation for it.
Do you not understand it?
No, I don't understand.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
So, because that's how it was.
Do you
to
have
go.
an interest in learning about it?
no.
If you explain it to me, just like
It dates way back
Golf?
to the 16th century in Scotland,
mm-hmm.
and in its contemporary form, teams of 2 players slide 44-pound granite stones down a sheet of ice towards a target area with 4 concentric circles called houses.
I've seen
And
it.
there's some other stuff going on.
Yeah, so if I can understand it, I probably appreciate it. Not that to say that I would watch it regularly, but just like with golf, when you actually watch golf and not know what it is, it seems boring. But when you know golf and you watch it, it's more exciting because you understand the level of skill that goes involved in like each shot and what they're up against and
And
obstacles.
each club. And
Yeah.
I just love that they still show up after such a horrible, this was what they said was, when you get on the ice, your opponents are supposed to shake hands and say, good curling. Some people don't shake our hands. That's okay. We still smell. We're just so happy to be there. Win or lose, you're still going to see us at the next competition. And I think that is a statement for all of us.
yeah,
for
that's,
this
I mean,
year.
that's, yeah.
It's like, just
Yeah.
keep showing
Just
up.
show up.
Yep.
Well, yeah, they're showing up for something they enjoy doing, so they're not gonna let anybody,
Hinder.
Deter them.
hinder that. Yeah, exactly. So that's a lesson for all of us.
And then this other article, which I love, because I don't play chess ever, is I cannot say this kid's name for the life of me. I was trying to hear the anyway, the 8-year-old Nigerian refugee has won the New York State Scholarship Championship. But what's even more impressive is that he learned the game only a year ago. And on top of that, he is also in a homeless shelter. But that hasn't stopped him from winning 7 trophies and being one of the top chess players for his age. And they've started a GoFundMe page for him.
Yeah, I think they found them a house. I think they found them
That's
housing already.
cool.
They found them housing. I'm dying to learn how to
How
play
old is he
chess. He's
again?
8.
8.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm dying to learn how to play chess. And I've always said that I want a child to teach me because I figured I'd understand a child explaining it to me better. Because I think it seems like such a high skilled game that if a person is really like, and then you got to do this, and then like if a kid just goes, well, you got to move it this way because of this, I'd understand.